Wait, what? At the first Thanksgiving? Gross!
If you think the Pilgrims ate roast turkey, mashed potatoes, and pumpkin pie at the first Thanksgiving, think again. Their 1621 feast was full of foods that most of us wouldn't dare put on our Thanksgiving menu. Some of their foods were even downright gross. So think long and hard before you serve the Pilgrims' foods to your guests. They had plenty to eat, but their dishes were completely different from what we serve today. The main difference was that they had limited food selections, no supermarkets, and no gourmet spices to choose from. They had to use the foods available to them in and around their new settlement at Plymouth, in today's Massachusetts. That meant they ended up with whatever they could grow, gather, or hunt in the local area, as well as whatever foods their Native American neighbors, the Wampanoag, brought to them. But the foods they did have access to were abundant and made for a hearty feast. After a brutal year of sickness, struggle, and survival, the Pilgrims were grateful to have a harvest feast at all, even if it meant eating things like roasted eel. Yep, you heard that right. Let's dig in to the real story of what the Pilgrims ate at the first Thanksgiving feast. We'll first look at whether any of our traditional foods were on their tables. Then we'll flip the tables to see what they actually ate in 1621, including a few ingredients and recipes that might make you say,
"Thanks, but no thanks."
Finally, be sure to stick around for some bonus content. To begin with, the Pilgrims' 1621 feast was not the first Thanksgiving in America. The idea of the first Thanksgiving is a myth that developed in the 1800s. I'll put a link in the description to another video where you can learn more about that. The 1621 meal was actually a multi-day fall harvest celebration that included over 50 Pilgrim colonists and about 90 Native Americans. At the time, they did not call the event Thanksgiving. We don't know the feast's exact menu, but we do know what foods were available based on records of that time. This helps us reconstruct a likely menu for the feast. Here's the food that wasn't at the Pilgrims' 1621 feast. No potatoes. This versatile root vegetable hadn't reached New England yet. No sugar, sweeteners were scarce at Plymouth, no flour, butter, or lard available to make pie or bread.
They had run out.
No sweet corn, not like we know it today. No stuffing, no cranberry sauce, no gravy, no green bean casserole, no sauerkraut, no cider, not even any forks. They didn't use them yet.
But what about the turkey?
About the turkey, we don't know for sure if they ate turkey at the feast. We only know that they ate wild fowl, which may or may not have included turkey. You see, wild turkeys are lean and difficult to catch. There were meatier and tastier wild fowl that they were more likely to have eaten, that were also abundant and easier to catch, like duck and goose. And English people back then simply didn't value turkey very much. It wasn't a very special meat to them. They would have preferred duck and deer meat called venison. So even if turkey had been available to them, it's safe to assume that it wasn't the main dish, like it is for us today. They just didn't like it or eat it that much.
It doesn't sound very fun.
It might sound like the Pilgrims had no fun at their feast without all the amazing foods we're used to having at Thanksgiving, but really their meal was just different from what we're used to. They simply didn't have access to all the ingredients we have today. They didn't even have access to most foods they would have had in Europe. They lived remotely from the old world and didn't have ships regularly stopping at Plymouth at the time to import other ingredients.
No pumpkin spice anything?
Nope. They had to make do with what they had. But the fact that they ate this food for days makes it seem like they had a pretty good time. Just with different foods than we eat for Thanksgiving today.
So what did they eat?
Lots of stuff. Venison was the main dish. The Wampanoag brought 5 deer to the feast, which they had hunted. The venison would have been roasted over an open fire or boiled in stews. Pilgrim hunters shot wildfowl for the feast. Wildfowl was abundant at Plymouth. Likely the phrase referred to duck and maybe goose, but less likely wild turkey. The duck may have been seasoned and roasted on a spit. The goose, a bird with tougher meat, may have been boiled with cornmeal, onions, or any available herbs and root vegetables such as carrots or turnips. But many historians believe they used the Wampanoag method of wrapping the bird in leaves or clay, then burying it under hot stones or coals, and slow cooking it until the meat was tender, like we do at a clam bake or pit roast today. They likely ate a lot of shellfish at the feast. All sorts of shellfish were abundant, close by, and easy to gather, including clams, oysters, mussels, fish, and possibly lobster. Shellfish had become a staple of the Pilgrims' diet at Plymouth. The way the Pilgrims prepared shellfish endures in New England, as roasted over an open fire or hot coals, or boiled into stews. They knew their clams, oysters, and mussels were ready to eat when the animals popped open. Their stews contained herbs, onions, or similar plants, and cornmeal as a thickener. This made pottage a dish similar to an early chowder. What other sea creature was abundant enough to have at the feast? That's right, eel. Eel was a major food source for the Pilgrims, once the Wampanoag taught them how to trap it. The Pilgrims loved to eat eel. They tended to roast it over the fire until it was crispy on the outside. Eel was also used in stews and was good for thickening the broth and absorbing herbs' flavor. Eels could also be wrapped and cooked in pits or smoked for flavor and preservation. Corn dishes were also plentiful, but their corn wasn't like today's sweet corn. The Pilgrims' corn, called flint corn, was harder, coarser, and not nearly as sweet, but they ate it often. Once their Native American guide, Tisquanum or Squanto, taught them how to grow it. They typically prepared it as either a thick porridge called pottage or a dish called nasam, which was cornmeal mush with nuts, squash, and beans. Pumpkin was available, but as mentioned earlier, they didn't eat pumpkin pie because they had no other ingredients to sweeten it or to make the crust. They would have roasted any pumpkins, boiled them into mush, or baked them whole in embers. So if they did eat pumpkin at the feast, it would have been roasted or eaten as a thick soup. Other foods available for the feast included turnips, carrots, onions, parsnips, squash, nuts, berries, beans, and wild herbs. These would have been farmed or foraged. The Wampanoag and other Native American groups cultivated corn, beans, and squash closely together. This method, called the Three Sisters, was a mutually beneficial way to grow all three plants. To drink, they had water and possibly a fermented grain drink, like corn beer, but we can't confirm it. We know the Pilgrims brewed small beers when they lived in England, and we know early European colonists in North America made beer from corn and barley. But we don't have a specific record saying that Pilgrims had any beer at their 1621 feast.
What's beer?
Go ask your dad.
Okay, bye. Hey, Dad, what's beer?
Go ask your mom.
Clam bakes, roast pits, an early version of chowder. Food-wise, the Pilgrim and Wampanoag Feast of 1621 was more like a New England seafood boil meets a successful hunting camp. At the time, its localized significance was simply to celebrate that the colonists, with the help of their Native American neighbors, the Wampanoag, had enough food to survive the winter of 1621. The occasion marked quite a difference in their lives since the deadly winter, which had killed about half of the Pilgrims during their first few months at Plymouth. While the Pilgrims didn't have mashed potatoes and gravy or pumpkin pie, they did have plenty to be thankful for, from food to friendship, and being alive about a year after they first arrived at Plymouth. So, yeah, they ate eel, but they loved it, and they were thankful to be together to eat it. So if you really want to challenge your cooking skills and surprise your guests with something different, try making a Thanksgiving menu without these traditional staples that weren't available to the Pilgrims and Native Americans. Instead, treat them to venison stew, smoked duck, a shellfish sampler, fire-roasted eel, mushy nasam, thick pumpkin soup, and foraged nuts and berries for dessert. Let us know in the comments how you fared.
And remember to stick around for the bonus content at the end of this video.
Thank you for watching. Be sure to check out our other videos and books on history and more. Stay in touch so you won't miss out. Sign up for our free e-newsletter, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and follow us on X and Substack. You can also visit us in person or online at bookswv.com and buy our products on Amazon, Lulu, and Etsy. And finally,
I'll say it, Mom.
oh, okay.
Hello to our new subscribers.